Hey, healthy day to you. I pray that today you recognize and realize that one of our greatest wealth in this world is our health. That's what Virgil, a great Roman poet, reminds all of us. And I think often we really take it for granted. Reason being is because we just have it until we don't. So got sick yesterday and realized that there's a lot to be grateful for. I don't normally nap, but I was out for over 2 hours, and it was really tough for me to get up and out of bed. However, I did what my body asked for, slept in, yesterday, and then really took it upon myself today to just rest until my body was ready to say, all right, time to get up, which for me was super duper late, especially with the kiddos, having to go to school. Kind of just that, you know what, I'm gonna care for me today. All right, so it is a healthy filled day because that is the intention for today. And I want to talk a little bit about a conversation that I had with my son. And I think it was a pretty healthy one. And so he is home today. He's not feeling well. I guess I gave it to him, which I'm really sad and bummed about. But hey, you know what? That's what it is. Life happens, and I'm okay with that. So, as I sat down with him having breakfast, and I asked him, "Hey, buddy, can you come down? Breakfast is ready." I didn't hear him, but what he said to me was, he said, "Hey, ma, I just need a little bit of time." So 5 minutes later, I was like, "Hey, bud, are you like just ignoring me?" And he said, "No, I told you I just need a little bit of time." And I just asked, like, "Hey, how much longer?" He goes, "I don't know." So then I just left it at that. It's like, "Great, you take as long as you need." And so when he comes down, he loves drinking our traditional Pakistani chai. I had that ready for him because it's nice and warm, so that way his body can feel a little bit loved, right? So maybe that's the right word. Him and I began talking about the thoughts that he has in his mind. And quite often, like him, all of us face negative thoughts that come in our mind saying, we're not good enough, we're not worthy enough, we can't do this, we shouldn't do that, we shouldn't feel this way, we shouldn't be ourselves, we shouldn't have our own opinions, we shouldn't perceive life in the way that we can. So one of my good friends, said this week to me, she said, "Brain, when the word should comes up, that right there is an indicator to start questioning it because a should is something that's been a norm that's kind of been traditionalized, customized for us to do. So shoulds are already an alert." And I began talking to him, and she is a beautiful Reiki master. So for those of you who don't know what Reiki is just basically healing through energy. And since I've talked to her on my TV show, Lead with Intentions, on Tuesday, I couldn't stop but think of connecting dots of why that episode happened, why she's talking about the things that she is, and how Reiki has really elevated her in her own life. And I started to talk to my son. He loves, loves, loves everything Japanese. And so him and I were talking, and I said, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" And he goes, "Okay." And I said, "I want to make sure I have permission and that you're open and receiving of what I'm going to ask you." And quite often, I don't think as parents we ask our children for permission. However, it made the conversation just so much healthier because he knew that something was coming up, and in a way, he was like ready. It was in a way he was like ready to hear it out. And I asked him, would you be able to just do a little bit of research on Reiki because it's literally healing through energy. As I began asking him questions like, how much energy do you really use to, to rebuttal these negative thoughts that you have? And he said a lot. Said how much of your time, time goes into really correcting this and bringing out a better version of you. And he goes, quite often, but these thoughts kind of come at random, which is human behavior, which is what happens. I also want to take a pause here and say I don't know exactly where to look because my camera is above my head, and I am looking at trying to look at a place where I'm hoping that you can see I'm talking to you, just to you, nobody else. So I apologize if my eyes are in a place where it's not normal or no natural, but honestly, this is just created for you. And healing through energy is something that I think is such a beautiful way of kind of getting to the root cause and really eliminating the problem. So he was open and receptive. He said, "Okay, I can do a little bit of research on that." I said, "Plus, it's like Japanese, bro." And he's like, "Yeah, Ma, you said that to me before too." And I am so honored that he is just open. And I said, "Hey, bud, when you learn things, can you teach them to me too?" And this is where the accountability piece comes in, where we as parents are now holding ourselves accountable, but our children too, and saying, "Why don't you be the master and teach me something?" And we're saying, you know what, this time around, I'll be the student. So if we can empower our children to bring knowledge to us that they're attaining, wouldn't that really change the dynamics of your whole relationship? So I really hope that this conversation is something that you also can look into and find out what are some healthy ways that we can really ask our children permission to allow all of us to be the best versions of ourselves. With that said, sending you a ton of Umberji, healthy, loving, compassionate, amazing, wonderful, energetic Umberji. This is X Mom signing out. Bye.